Testing. Testing. Alright. Everything seems to be working. The Journal of Lowly Unimportus. Entry number 1. The regiment and I had just came back to headquarters for the first time in a long while. I don't know exactly how long, since no one bothered to tell me how long days last here. Taking the mould growing on my manufactorium patent bedsheets into account, it must be at least 6,000 dead orcs converted to, units of time. Yeah, that's it. Well, anyway, I can say that the way back to the HQ was incredibly harsh. We started off in some rotten old woodlands on a neighbouring planet that we had just cleared of a minor orc band. They had been running amok, harassing civilians, playing loud orc music, getting drunk, and generally disturbing the peace. We were supposed to go back by Chimera to the Valkyries, so we drove about 5 hours through rough terrain while the Commissar complained every time his humongous hat fell off his head due to the constant bouncing of the vehicle. It was like 18 complaints per kilometre or something. We were driving at least 70 kilometres an hour. His voice was screechy, like a tyrannid scraping its claw up against a chalkboard possessed by a greater demon or something. So in the end, our ears were ringing like a bolt gun had been fired against them. Well, actually, for some people a bolt gun was fired against them, but that's beside the point. So after about 5 hours, the driver suddenly drove down to this deep mire and the Chimera started to sink. The Commissar rose up and dropped his hat for the 16,000th time and started violently frothing at the mouth. At the same time, a guy who had been suffering from motion sickness the entire trip puked up all his innards all over the Commissar's coat. The driver jumped out of the Chimera and ran off into the forest, throwing off his gear and shouting out "For chaos!" over and over. After that, we had to walk the rest of the way. Fortunately, it was only 4 hours by foot, and when I say foot, I mean 1 foot. Most of the guys had lost at least one of their feet in the accident, so we had to go pretty slowly. After we had walked about 1 kilometre, we managed to get to the Valkyries, and then got back to the main ship and did some warp travelling. I really don't like warp travelling though. It's horrifying. Every time I hear these monstrous voices talking about really interesting and fun things, but whenever I try and join the conversation, they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" and then they go away and talk somewhere else. Well, anyways, we managed to get through the warp with only 37% casualties, and as a bonus, I found this neat little Vox recorder. I figured I'd start using it because maybe someday someone will pick it up and listen to these stories of mine, and then I will at least be noticed. Let's just hope I don't die accidentally during breakfast tomorrow or something.
End of entry.